think kind of in the same terms. Go ahead and start, Grayson.
All right.
As previous drawing or previous assignment, which is, thinking about space. So we're going to pull up the photo again. So for instance, this part of the wood, right, is kind of closer to us. Sorry.
Oh, I can see it.
Yeah, but Brooke can't. Hello? Why did it go off? It was just on. There we go. So this part of the wood here is closer to us than this part of the wood. It's also much more focused, whereas you can see how this gets a lot softer as it goes back, right? So I probably want to come in here and give that a stronger contour, and also give these guys a little bit more juice. And then kind of transition them to a lighter tone as I go back. You guys see how that pulls that forward and pushes that back. So, whatever is closer to you is one place to start with creating a little bit more get up and go in your lines. Now, this plane is a darker plane, yes? Everybody look up at the board.
Yeah.
So, say what?
You called it board too?
Oh, I always do call it a board for some reason. So I'm going to give it a little bit more contrast because it's a darker plane in general, whereas the top is a lighter plane. So this should probably be darker in here, yes? Because it's a darker plane. But we have kind of a transition to light because that edge isn't as strong. And notice I'm not just outlining my initial lines, right? I'm actually creating some new ones. So if I transition these lines, that can give us the impression. Do you see how that starts to feel like it's fading into light a little bit more? Yep. So this is a light plane. So I'm going to notice that right here, look at the feature that I'm drawing. You guys see that up there? That's a really strong corner. You guys see that? So this plane should be dark too because it's a shaded side, but it might not need to be as dark as the front. So if I make it dark and I say, that looks too much like the front, then I can come into the front and do what? Make it a little bit darker, which will create a difference with what I have on the side. Does that make sense to everybody? Now, this is a dark color shape and it's in shadow, so it should probably be darker, yes.
What pencil are you using?
It says 8B. This is a light shape, but it's got a strong edge. Why? Because the background is dark. So it's a high contrasting shape. So what I might do is make its edges dark and then transition to the middle, which I can leave what? Lighter. And then these lines can be darker, but as I move towards the middle, they can be lighter. Okay? Now the drapery is a dark shape, but it doesn't have really distinct edges. So what I might do is make it a little bit darker towards the middle of the drapery, meaning the middle of this section of drapery that I'm drawing. But then do what as it disappears behind the objects that are adjacent to it?
Fade.
Let it fade out. That way our eye will be moved notice how I'm adding more lines. Don't care if they line up or not. That way, as the volume of this turns up, the volume of this turns down. Does that make sense? Yeshua, you have a weird look on your face.
I just get lost between the drapery and the rock.
Here?
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
That you gotta like either lighten one up or like darken the other one.
So if I do this, and I do this, just at the edge, just like I did with this shape, because I want to keep this plane relatively light, does that help to bring the rock forward?
Yeah.
Yes. You see what I mean? And I really want to say that I appreciate you saying that, because that's you looking at the drawing and saying, wait a minute, something's wrong here. It's not standing out enough. I need to fix it. In this case, Yeshua is like my Jiminy Cricket on the shoulder saying, you know, be careful. You don't want to lie, right, Pinocchio? So tell the truth, right? And make that clear. And then maybe here, I want to bring it out a little bit. But again, letting it do what as it goes behind the wave of drapery that's in front of it. Get lighter as it goes behind that drapery. So you see how that really creates a nice sense of undulation in the drapery? Okay? Clear to everybody? And again, I really want you to notice that I'm not like really fixated on just outlining the lines that I've created. Because you can't see them once you do the darker lines, right? They just kind of fade away unless you're looking at it up close. I did notice, you guys see what's happening here? So what should I have done?
Put a sheet of paper.
I should have had a sheet of paper down to protect me from smearing, but I can come back, and it would probably be best with the kneaded eraser, but I'll use one of these. And if you just use light pressure, it won't affect your lines too much. Oh, that's making life worse. Never mind. So erase it. And what's cool about doing it that way, I'm just noticing this, is what does that do to my lines?
Light them up.
It lightens them up a little bit, right? And that might be a good thing. I can come back with my thinner pencil and kind of fill in where I erased, and that'll, you know, get rid of the smudgies. But if I had been smart, I would have, had a piece of paper under there to begin with. Does that make sense, everybody? Everybody clear on this? So we're working on this and trying to get it done by Monday. Okay? That's your homework. All right, good. Keep going.